Well, hello and welcome to the wrap show, rounded up all things Zwift from the last week. I'm Nathan Guerra, and Russell sat next to me. We are live on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and X, formerly known as Twitter. We're live at a new time again because Anna's awesome. Just kidding, Anna. So, and it is now 11:30 p.m. on a Wednesday night, U.S. time Central, and I think that's like 5:30 p.m. NZT on a Thursday. And today is episode number 83 on Wednesday, February 22nd. And what we got for you is going to be the Zwift Racing League Chasing the Sun wrap up, because that was absolutely awesome. Type 2 Suffering Zwift update 1.59 with a whole lot of highlights. And Zwift Academy, how are we thinking about the Academy this year, as well as the episodes that have been released so far as of today. And then, of course, as you can see, the main topic of today is everything Zwift games, Golden Trons, new Adidas, or if you live where I am, Adidas, and some cool Oakleys, it looks like, in game, alongside of a whole bunch of new courses and a lot of community and elite racing attached to each other. So we're going to go through all of that. And of course, the jersey pick of the week, well, it's not a jersey, it's a gold bike. And we're going to get a close-up look at what that means both in-game and perhaps out of game. So, well, what do we usually do? We talk about how we've been doing any kind of Type 2 fun on Zwift usually, or other related things to Zwift in our own lives for the last week. So why don't you go ahead and kick us off, Anna?
Okay, and I do want to say sorry.
This is a podcast too. Sorry, I didn't do the podcast thing. If you want to download this and you didn't know, and you're just checking this out on YouTube or somewhere for the first time while we're live, you can go to zwiftcommunitylive.com/podcast and download the audio version if you don't got time to hang out with us live or watch back the video on anywhere that the VOD lives. Sorry about that, Anna. Go ahead.
Okay. I am sorry for the change rounds of time quite a lot in the last couple of weeks.
I was just kidding. I was totally kidding, Anna.
I know. But I looked ahead on my calendar and I got this new job at the end of last year and I was like, oh, I'm away a lot of Friday nights, which is when I would be doing this. And then last week I couldn't do it because I did my first in real life crit. And wow, like if I tie it to Zwift, so obviously I've done quite a few crits in Zwift, like Glasgow Crit Circuit, Crit City. And there was I was so nervous, because I turned up and the first thing, so they had categories D, C, B, and A. And I was like, I'm going to do B. So I'm watching C go past and their one. And I was like, oh my God, there's 50 people in there. I was like, are you serious? And I just look at my husband and he's like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So I get into the B group. I look around. I'm like, sweet. There's no woman at all. It's me and 45 guys. And I was like, okay, we'll be fine. We do a easy lap first and then it starts. So the easy lap, I was like, okay, we're good. We'll be fine. And then it started. I was like, holy shit. White knuckle handlebars. It was the whole, people, what do you even call it? Shoulder checking? They just lean on you to get a good line. And so everyone's leaning and I'm like, oh my God, I hate this. So lap one, I was like, I'm out. I don't want to do it. But then I was like, actually, I'm just going to sit at the back. So I sat at the back. So obviously I was using so much energy. I'm yo-yoing off the back around the chicanes, catching up in a headwind because it was the only time I could catch up. So I put in all this energy. I think it was lap 10. I was like, I'm just going to do a flyer off the front because I'm either going to be at the back or at the front, but I'm not sitting in the middle. And so I flew off the front for a while, which was quite fun because all these people were like, get her, chase her down. And I was like, oh, cool. This is aggressive. I like this. There was a preem lap where you won a pair of sunglasses. So it went nuts for this one lap. And then it came into the bell lap. And my whole thing was I wanted to beat my husband. So he's great in the pack. He's just rolling around. So I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to go up and I'm going to sit on his wheel because he's the one I want to beat. So we're all still in this main pack. And I got to his wheel. We go around the chicanes. He literally gets pushed into the gutter. And I was like, oh my God, I'm out again. I can't do this. He was fine. He just he bunny hops something and keeps going. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And then it came to the last hill and I was just went again, all in the wind, took the hugest line around the outside because I just wanted no one near me and just fully pumped it up the hill and came past and we sprinted each other and I beat him by 10
No
centimeters.
way! You got him! You got him! No
I got him.
way. Oh my gosh. I thought the story was totally going to I'm not, and you actually beat him. And he knew you were trying to beat him. He knew the whole thing.
Oh, it was big. Yeah. But the lessons good. I learned, tying it to Zwift, it made me realize, because I've never done in real life cycle racing. This was my first time. Zwift racing is legit, power wise. I know you don't have the jostling and the scariness of being around people, but I got to the end. My husband was a wreck, and I was like, oh, that was nice. What should we have for dinner? It was so not hard from a power perspective. I was like, wow, Zwift racing is so hard, compared to that. Technically not though. So anyway, it was wild. And then I did another race.
You were racing what category though?
B
category? Okay, so because I don't know how the categories match up across countries too. So if I get into it's difficult because if you get into a pro crit, pro 1-2 crit, it's we're doing 700 watts out of every corner. But if you're really smart, you can kind of not do that. But when it gets hot, it gets crazy. Like if you want to be competitive at all. So I don't know, like but I do know what you're talking about though. Like you go a little further down the categories and it's kind of like, and my comparison is just that you're racing A in Zwift, right? And then you jump into a lower category race in real life. It's going to feel fitness wise, probably like it wasn't as high. I guess that was my only.
Oh, but I think this would be like a mixed race. Like I'd race a mixed B on Zwift.
Gotcha. Good call. You were with the guys.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Good point.
And I watched the A category, and that had way less people, like maybe 12, and they were like elite riders, right? Like they had all their, aerodynamic suits on and like proper team kits and stuff, right? So I kind of was like, to be honest, if I did it again, I'd probably just race A because
with
they
less
didn't
people
go,
and they're not as like out of control probably too. Yeah.
Like I'm not lying, Nathan. A guy in front of me, he was a kid. He was probably like 19. He was in front of me. I was like, okay, this seems like a safe wheel. He gets up out of the saddle to boost it up this hill, and he put so much power down on his downstroke, the whole bike fishtailed in front of me. And I was like,
it sounds like your Cat Bs are the classic 4.5s here, where you're like, just get out of 4.5 as quick as you can if you don't want to be in the hospital. Like that's kind of our joke here about like racing 4.5s. So.
Oh my God. And I saw like some of the Strava titles after the race and it was like sketchy as hell, made it through. I was like, okay, it wasn't just me. Like,
no, it's not just you. That's totally the new road, like newer to road or kind of like weekend warrior crit racing is definitely got that vibe across the whole culture of it. Like that's the thing worldwide, I think.
Oh, okay, good. So anyway, my husband's like, do you want to do it again tomorrow night? I was like, no. Not at all.
You guys come over here and visit. You guys pull a Michael Sweet and a Whitney Post and come race Toad with us this summer because Gabby's got big plans for that. You'll do the full 2 weeks. We'll put you up somewhere to stay. I'm not kidding. Come race. You and Gabby could go like work some tactics. Let's go. Come on.
So I sent a message to our Discord after and I was like, I have got to give all credit to in real life races because the stress in a bunch would do my head in. Like hours and hours of just that. Like, no thanks. Give me my triathlon, give me my little space. Yeah.
Yeah, and like racing the men in crits pro, that's I shouldn't like whatever level. Like it I get that. There's some pretty, anyways, I like road racing and mountain biking a lot better, honestly. Like it's a high adrenaline experience and I enjoy that part of it, but the risk reward, especially at the elite level, when you're with 100 dudes and it's the final few laps and everyone's trying to work their way up with as little effort as possible. So everything is just all about using others around you with big risk reward over and over and over again to move up 50 spots. And then somebody's like, I can move just a little more and I can do just a little more risk, a little more. And eventually, bam, someone goes down because everyone's risking that little bit more over and over again to find that much more aerodynamics in the littlest corner cut that you possibly can. And it's just, and essentially like I get to the finish line and I look around, I'm like, wow, I could have been on the podium if I wanted to maybe go to the hospital. That was my choice. Like if I maybe wanted to go to the hospital, I could have been on the podium because that dude went like, wow, and totally cut everybody off. And we almost all died, but he was the lead out train for so-and-so that took third. It's like, and that's where I am being there. You're getting a strong like feeling here about all that space where I do make a little bit of like right on for you guys that like, and I guess that is bike racing. Like I just, there's a part of me that doesn't call that bike racing for me. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like where I'm like, okay, I didn't know I was getting into like that much risk reward. I kind of like, cause like when it comes to like endurance sports and like who's strongest and who's tactical the best, that amount of risk of taking people out. Because there's almost like a culture of it now in American crit racing, like where it's like you almost see it celebrated amongst some of the posts a little bit, where it's kind of like, well, that's just a part of how you race is you find the right edge on your competitor and put them in the gutter and I'm like, man, there's something about that just does not feel like it's good sportsman, but it's not against the rules.
It's a line. It's a line. Like, and I think what personally why I'm not keen to do it again is I didn't get to do any tactics because I was so scared for my life in the group that I'm like, I can't even think about doing something because I'm just like, let's survive being in this pack. Whereas like a couple of days later, I raced a triathlon, which was draft legal, and it's separated a bit because you come out of the swim. So my pack had like 15 people. And then I got to do cool tactics. You know, there's a guy in front who's telling me to take turns, and I'm like, no, because I know that you can run faster than me. So I want you to burn all your matches on the front. And then there was actually a pro cyclist with me in the pack, and I like let the breakaway go until they're like enough that I could bridge it with my 1 minute power. And so like cut across and bridged it with 1 minute power and then left the pack behind. And I was kind of like, this is fun because you get to think about it a little bit and do some stuff. And I guess maybe when you're really, really comfortable in that jostly environment, you can do fun stuff, but if you're not
get away
comfortable
with
like
it,
me,
you can. And once I got more comfortable, I was a little less opinionated. I still, though, there were certain people who are so good at it. They were so good at cutting the corners and kind of taking positions in risky ways that it's kind of like you have to shut the door on them in ways that are also a risk. And the next thing you know, you end up in the same spot as others. And then everyone's on the ground, you know, and that part I'm kind of like, and so I have this like love-hate relationship with crit racing in some ways. Cause there's like, I love that adrenaline push. I'm pretty punchy rider, so I like that. But anyways, the happy medium, I know we're going down some totally different here, but like your experience is bringing this out that like, you know, that's why I think gravel is such a growing thing, is because you have these long stretches where the tactics can still play out. There's enough resistance on the road to make this mano a mano, woman versus woman situation. You get the situation where it's like you can really play things out without as much risk necessarily. There's still risk where you're diving into like single tracks at time, but you know they're coming and you can kind of get ahead of it, you know, and it's not like every 30 seconds there's a corner. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more spread out the amount of risks. So it's kind of the happy medium there where between the two. Mountain biking's very much like that too in some ways, but you just end up in a single track and you either made it or you didn't in a whole shot. But, well, what I've been up to, I raced ZRL. I did a lot of racing over the weekend as well. KISS 100. It's just been, like I said last week, race my bike and maybe put a little bit of base in between them. Not really structured too much. Let's transition though, because the main thing I focused on as far as Zwift and like any kind of racing was the ZRL Chasing the Sun. And like, that was a really interesting course. You know, from a broadcast perspective, points racing's been really difficult. So as we transition to this, just like one of the things that's in the background is like, for me, is the desire and the wish for immediacy of seeing the points like right now. You know what I mean? Like just like, come on, that should just be there, you know, kind of a thing. I'm sitting there waiting 15 minutes if I go to the WTRL website for the points to update, you know what I mean? To see where we're at, you know what I mean? Like, well, 15 minutes later, I don't really know what to do about that during the race. So essentially we're just kind of racing blind on the points, which kind of feels a little bit like even during the broadcast, it's like, well, we're talking about the things that are happening, but you know, it's not that entertaining if we can't talk about what's happening. You know what I mean? All we can talk about is people going for the line and who took first and who took FTS, who knows? It's kind of all over the place. Outside of that, I thought it was a very tactical and cool race course and fun to race. I just really, really feel like there's so much left to be desired from a development point of view on points racing right now, that because we've been doing this for like how many years? 3 years, 4 years, I think, of points racing like this. I just feel like it's kind of time.
Yeah, and I think I could see you were frustrated in one of the ones I watched where you were like flicking back to then get the leaderboard pop up and you're like, oh, that person was fastest. I was like, Nathan's not going to like having to do that. I think like you look at, and we'll talk about this soon, but the update that's happened and the ability to highlight riders. if that's actually a functionality that if you think beyond what they've done could be really useful. Like if you could just highlight the whole team that is currently leading on points, even just the broadcast tool could see that, right?
That's a cool idea. I didn't think of that. I'm only thinking of teams or whatever, but like the moment you said that, I'm thinking of like when you are in a video game and like critical hits happen, numbers pop up over the top of people's avatars, their heads. You could even have like pop, 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 like little popcorn over their head. Like this one got 10, this one got 5, this one got, and you'd be able to like see it, and it would like maybe pop up as their color even. So Ionian's colored this, whatever, and like you select the team that you're on, and they're highlighted whatever their highlight color is, and you could brighten it or lower it if you had customization.
Yeah.
And then have the numbers pop up over their heads as they go through that finish line. That would be so cool, like so interactive.
I know. Yeah, it would be so, like I would just, something like that where it's in the game and you're just like, ooh, that's them. So anyway, I was really looking forward to this course, Chasing the Sun. I had just a goal. I'd been a bit like demotivated with Zwift racing. I don't know what it is, but I think it's just the end of the rounds. And I was sort of like, I kind of want to, I don't know. I just kind of had a funny vibe with it. But this one, my whole goal was to stay in the front pack on the Temple QOM. So get points, like kind of middling around 4th and 5th on the points and all the sprints. And then that Temple QOM, I was like, I've done so much 5-minute power work with Claire. I'm like, this climb is 6 minutes-ish. Like, come on, just do this, you know? And so it was awesome. Like the climb was great. I was battling with a fellow Kiwi, Bronwyn, who has just come back from Europe. So it was great. We were like sprinting each other for the line. I think we were like 3rd and 4th.
You came over. I said that during the broadcast, I was like, Anna Russell, what is going on with her right now? Like, talk about having some fitness. That climb is no joke, Anna. You were right there at the top, and the leaders had just gone over the line. You were not far off the back of that for the win on the
I think I was like 3 seconds back at the top. Jeez. So I think what was like I found with that climb though, which I hadn't realized, I reconned it actually, because I was like, what is killing me on this climb? Because every time I've done it, I've had this just mental kind of like, I don't want to do it. And at the start, it's like dirt, dirt, dirt. And then it kicks up pretty quick to like 10. And then it lowers off again. And I think every time it kicked up, I was like, oh man, my legs are tired. But your legs are tired because you've mostly ridden flat. And it's the first time you're kind of like hitting something. And so this time I was like, your whole goal is to get to the bit where it flattens off, which is like 2/3 of the way up before it kicks up again. And just get to there. If you can get to there,
the bridge,
you can just draft
before the last climb,
right?
The right-hand bend. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, just get to that. Just get to that point, and then just draft, and whatever happens there happens. You know, you could die. And then it actually worked.
But did you die? You could die. I mean, just get there. You could die, but you know.
But then unfortunately, we just made a huge tactical error. And
okay,
Jen
can I ask you? Can I predict? Can I do a little prediction? Did the pack speed up and you thought I'll draft toward the back and then a gap opened and the reality of the new dynamics made it so they rolled away with steamrollers a little bit maybe over the top? Or no, is that not what happened?
No, no.
That's what happened to me. So I'm like, did you experience what I experienced?
Okay. Oh, no. Okay, I'll tell you mine first and then you go through yours. So like I got over the top. There were like 4 of us, me and Megan. So 2 from our team, 2 from another team. So it was good, right? A good little crew. 10 seconds back was 3 more riots. And Jen and I had a sort of disagreement during the race about whether they should bridge up or not. And I was like, don't bridge up. I'm always like, whoever's made it. Let's push to the line, because the less people I have to sprint, the more points we're going to get. But then it did make sense that they brought it up. And so then we had like 5 riders. But then what happened is, and I like look back and I'm like, oh my God, just kicking myself, is we were so busy then talking about what we're going to do at the sprint and the finish.
You're talking we didn't notice this all out 6-minute effort about instead of making them, oh gosh. Oh.
And so then the big chase group with all of AO, literally all their sprinters, caught us as we went back into Neokyo. We didn't even notice. We go, oh my God, there's a pack there when they were 4 seconds back, which was too late. And so we lost the race because this whole pack caught up and we hadn't even been
Yeah,
looking
and Cookies
at it or
went.
noticed.
Cookies went. She went. I saw.
Yeah. Oh, so annoying.
It was Molly Keller, wasn't it? Wasn't it Keller who jumped? Was it Keller who jumped or no? Was she not there?
I don't know. Maybe. I can't actually. I was just like,
maybe Keller was earlier in Europe. I just remember when she went for the line. There's so many Aeonian. There's a lot of Aeonian.
It's so
There's
good.
a lot of AO. Like they're
what
all
did you
over the
do?
place. So
what happened in yours?
I tried. So okay. New pack dynamic sprinting techniques. Okay. You have to jump before the pack. If you jump when the pack starts, so if you behave in the same way that a lot of people use their power-ups. Oh, they're using their power-ups. I got to use my power-up too. Like if you just play the same tune of Birds of a Feather and you just flock, you're going to have to match watt for watt. But the game understands at a certain speed differentiation to let you by. So you have to, if you want to go back to front now, you have to go 2 or 3 seconds. I'd say 2 seconds. 3's a lot. 2 seconds earlier than they go. And if you're at the back, you got to come through them about a quarter of the back to halfway before they even start really going. But if you time it too early, you end up off the front and caught. So it's this like perfect timing. So on the first one, I was at the back. I was watching. I was like, where's the green? Where's the green? And I forgot where the green was for the alley sprint. So I was like, oh, there it is. Shoot, too late. I'm already like sprinting with everyone, not pushing past. And we're all just doing the same speed. So I ended up not even really I think maybe I got like 7th on that one or something. I was like, oh, what the heck? Like not even FAL, not even close to FAL. Like they were, you know how the sprinting works now. Once you're off the front, you're off the front. Like it's like you're not catching through if they're matching you in any way whatsoever. So then I essentially did like an all out 1,000-watt sprint on the first one. And then I was like 170 beats per minute. How the heck am I going to recover? That was like the first K. And like, I'm like dying already. I was like, oh man, I need some base fitness. Cause I could tell my heart rates. Now the crazy thing, and one of our, I think it was Karsten, one of our longtime viewers and part of the community told me that there's been a lot of stuff coming out, and I haven't really looked into this about heart rates and how high they'll go when you're really, really well recovered. I saw 196 beats per minute during this race. I haven't seen 196 beats per minute since I was like early 20s. Like, I don't know what's going on, but my heart rate is like, wow, like way, way, way. So I guess I'm like really well rested, which is great because I've been riding my bike like 10 to 12 hours a week. So like, I don't know, maybe I need to go and use that for something. But anyways, then I jumped into, and I went for the railway sprint. I did really well on that one and got, I don't know. But after that, I thought for sure I was getting dropped on rooftops. I was like, how am I going to make it over the top of this? I just did 2 1,000-watt sprints for essentially 15 seconds, it feels like, and got some points, but and the other thing is like America's West is just so sick of OMG. They're just like, come on, you guys. Like, we're just going to kick your butt. Like, we need to whoop these dudes. And so you can kind of feel it. Like, they keep showing up with like a little bit of a different tactical plan. They'll get a new guy on their roster. You can tell super strong for that season. And then next thing you know, there's like this, who's that guy? And where's this coming from? And oh, I got beat at the line by who, what? And so like, you can really sense like this level a little bit rising a little bit where, you know, it definitely has put us on our back feet here and there. And then over the top of the Tempo KOM, that I don't think I wasn't recovered at that point, but I recovered enough to hang on until that bridge section. And then I was like, I'll just kind of, so we got caught by a group. So there was 3 of us off the front. And they were doing like 7-8 watts per kilogram through like the early halfway. I was like, oh my gosh, head sideways. Nathan head sideways. And like, I'm going to get dropped in a mountain bike race. Oh my gosh, how am I going to hold on? Am I going to hold on? And then come over the bridge, flattens out. And I was like, oh, we're getting caught by these guys. I'll go to the back of them and roll through. They all sat up to 3 watts per kilogram. And the 4 or 5 like continued on at 5 or 6. And I was like, well, there goes the front. I guess I'm settling for something less. Yeah, I was like, oh no. So then we punched that last 8 or 9, and everyone had already used their steamroller in my pack. So I like steamroller over the top. I only got 4 watts per kilogram, but like the steamroller gave me that like 3 seconds, like automatic, just boom, because nobody else had one.
Yeah.
And like ended up rolling through 6. I did a 5-minute climb. They did 4:50 over the top. 4 minutes and 50 seconds.
Holy!
I did a 5 minute. I thought I was like not strong. 5 minutes is no joke, dude. Like,
did you catch up? Did you catch on the down?
No, because I was going to, but I had teammates up the road, so I was frustrated and also happy because I'm like, I hate it. I want to win, but I got teammates up the road. I'm not going to chase my teammates, so I was like, get as far away as you can, you guys. I was like, get as far away, go, because then I can at least do something back here and not just sit around. But they got like 40 seconds or something. Then this was the best part, because I learned throughout the race. The tower sprint, I was like, at the back, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it right this time. And Caleb Carlos on my team was like, all right, I'm going to be a cool lead out, man. This is what I'm going to do. I got an arrow. I saved my arrow, whatever, It's a little ways out. And like, we let it stretch out in front of us because people started doing like a lead out almost. And I was like, perfect. We're getting really high in speed. I jumped like 3 seconds prior. I was like, Caleb, on my wheel. We both jumped to like 13, 14 watts per kilogram. And next thing I know, I hit my arrow and I look up, we're doing 74 kilometers per hour into that little last uphill. We had the fastest time, I think, of almost the whole day because how we timed it. It was like a 14:79 or something on it. I think some of the best times were like 15 seconds. It was so, and then after tower, you can split it because usually the group splinters. So somebody came up to us. It was Flanders, one of the other OMG team guys. And he rolled through with some of his speed, and I was like, head down, let's go. Because we had 3 seconds, and I knew everybody behind would be caked. They'd just be done. So we just put our heads down. One guy bridged, but it was 4 of us then working the whole way after tower sprint, and I was able to out-sprint him at the end. But it was a good race. It was like super tactical and fun, and got done. And I was like how did I almost average 259? Like 3.9 watts per kilogram, but I feel like it was the hardest freaking race of my entire, like, that tells you how concentrated those points are. If you're averaging really low, that's how hard you're going when you're going hard.
The points are, yeah. The I did my second best all time 5 minutes, and that climb took me 6 minutes, and so I did the best 5 minute within a 6 minute. You know what I mean?
Minute. Oh my god,
far out. But it's interesting what you're saying there with the sprints, because this is karma, right? Do you remember, and please don't clip it, back in a show we were talking about this, and I was like, I got it. I know how to do it. Do you remember that? I do not got it anymore. And I think what you're saying has highlighted to me what I don't got. So I've been doing that sync to the back before the sprint starts to get FTS. And what you're saying has just gone ding to me, is that then everyone starts sprinting and I start sprinting and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like stuck to the back of the pack. Yeah,
unless you have like Angela Roberts numbers, or like you have, you know what I mean? Unless you have like really big numbers, it'll allow you past. But if you don't, you like just sit next to them. You fight.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, right? And so, okay, that's enlightening. I think when we go into the Zwift games, I'm going to look at those sprints and go, what the hell? I'm just going to go early.
So, well, yeah, there's only, and that's the thing is it's every single sprint's going to be so different too. There isn't like a one solution for all now, because the terrain and the speed gains on the terrain are going to absolutely matter. So one of them, depending on how the pack's behaving, an early go might work. But if they respond in a certain way, it might not. And then a late go from the back, you know, it's like it's so different now with how you have to time things with the terrain that's in front of you and how much speed you can actually gain compared to everybody else around you, that like there's a little bit of a dice roll. And it bugs me a little bit that like, oh, if I know exactly how to do it, I can completely control the situation. But the reality of racing is like, other people are going to do other things and you can't always control that much, you know? And so you roll the dice with your best chances to what you have to the line.
What we've found has worked, that Jen, I'll credit Jen with this one, is that because we don't have the same sprinting firepower as AO, if we go early with a like FAL rider and it just stretches the pack out completely, So it's then a lot easier to get through everyone because it's like one by one that are split apart, not necessarily on a draft. So I think that has tended to help. But when it's just a group, yeah, like,
So can
oh my
I
gosh.
speak to that a little bit? Like the group is like a deck of cards, right? Like you've got all these different things, but if you lay the cards out in a way that has some order to it, that you control how the cards are going to be played, and that's why it's a team game more so now. Like before, it was like individual riders could just control because it was kind of a one card fits all situation. Right now, every rider plays such a role that a team has to control the pace, not allow it to the front, get a rider in its right position. It's like real life racing where like the front end has better draft as it is to the third rider, and they could just drive the pace, and you have to really fight to get up there. And if you're positioned right, you can hold your position and not get pushed out as much and then make the sprint. And if you time it correctly with the lead out from the team, you then take some of the randomness out of it. But if you start thinking in the old way that everyone's just their own individual here and there isn't any organization to a sprint, you're not going to have the same kind of result. It'll be more of a dice roll then. And if a team takes control, there ain't a lot that you can do about it unless you kind of stick yourself in their Sagan elbow style or something, you know?
Sagan style, quacking. When he's cracking, is that what it's called? So anyway, great course. So I think we actually did it last year as well. So same course. So yeah, I'm stoked that I managed to nail that climb finally and put the nail in that coffin of the mental explosions that I've usually had up that climb. I think it was the fastest time I've done on a road bike, because the gravel bike's different, by like 20 seconds. So happy with that.
Were you on a Tron? Were you on a Tron? What, you look unhappy about it.
No.
You look unhappy about it. What was that about? You were like, yeah, I was on a Tron.
I know. Well, it's just so boring, right? It's like every race I've done this season, I've done on a Tron almost. Because it's like, I think that race, usually I would have switched to a gravel bike, done a bike swap. So I guess that's why I'm like,
the bike swaps got taken away. Yeah, I get it. Quick question from Danny Enzo coming in. Good to see him here. Was that when you were hitting 196 on the climb? I don't actually know. I think so. I think that was. Yeah, that was it. That had to have been it, right around that section. I couldn't really see when else. It might have also been
you
the
tower
sprint. The tower sprint or there, I think, is when I really hit the 196, Danny. Thanks for asking. Well, should we go on to 1.59 update?
Yeah. Yes. So there's a great update there.
So the rider highlight, we talked about that a little bit. I mean, isn't that really the main thing that's coming out of this update? Is that rider highlight and all the options that kind of come out of that? One of the things that's both so that those that know now, if you have people on a friends list, it's rolling out slowly. I think everybody probably has it at this point, but essentially what happens is that when you're in a pack of riders, your friends that are in the pack of riders get a little highlight around their avatar. So it makes it essentially so that you can identify those around you that you would maybe want to identify as somebody that, oh, that's so-and-so, or that's so-and-so that's around you in the pack. And it isn't just kind of like random avatars around you.
Yeah, it's cool. So there's different, so it highlights your avatar with a white light, and it's a smart light. So it varies in intensity. This is from Zwift Insider, based on how many riders are nearby. So medium, if there's a small pack, it's kind of a medium strength one. If there's like a strung out pack, it's not there at all. And if it's like heaps of people, I guess it would be even brighter. And then your friends who are directly kind of around you highlighted, but only to a maximum of 3, I think. So say in a ZRL race, you're hopefully friends with all your team. It won't be all 5 of them highlighted. Like I think it's just 3. And then there's rider highlights. And this is what I was going with like a team, like if the team's leading or something, is that on group rides, the team leader is highlighted in like a blue kind of color. Should kind of be yellow since the beacon is yellow. But anyway, that's where I think it can, and you can turn it off if you don't want it. So just go to the settings window. I don't have it yet. So I have to wait on that one. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, that surprised me.
There's been a few robo-pacer changes as well. I don't really ride with robo-pacers. But something about how drops are you get your drops. Like you've got a bigger area around the RoboPacer groups. And if you lose the group, you don't lose them straight away. You've got a bit more time to go rejoin.
I think
And
that
then
was
there
a
was one.
feedback. I kept giving feedback on that one that like you
It's
kept
you.
getting a warning sign that you would be dropped. And like, I think that was also part of not constantly being annoyed by, hey, you're losing it's like, no, they're right there. Like, what are you talking? Like, especially with like a smaller group with a RoboPlacer, it would always be like, hey, get near. It's like, I'm right next to him. What are you talking about? Like, I'm not like, why am I losing my, and then the drop probably would go away. I'm like, why is the drop probably going away? I was like, just gone for 2 seconds. So yeah, that's a good update on the RoboPacers. Cause you just constantly always get this message where it was like, I kind of just want to see Zwift stop talking. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's a good update. I like that.
Just a quick note, Carsten's got a great, there is so much potential for this rider highlight. One thing he said is would be great if the highlight corresponded to the name in the list. Agree. Like it would be great if the name in the list was divided by a color by your team. So like Team Riot was like, I don't know, bright green. And then our names on the side had like a bit of a green highlight too. So it would just make kind of team racing.
Yeah,
great.
on the list next to you, you get a correspondence that like, hey, this is what's going on with this rider. That's who that rider is. And there's like an identification very quickly then about that. And so the teams that's a really good idea, actually. Really good idea.
So this is cool. Like I'm hoping next season for ZRL, you can go in and pick your team highlight and then your team is highlighted. I do want to note that there was kind of something really funny in the additional tweaks and bug fixes. I never noticed this, but apparently the seals were floating in mid-air on the beach island loop in Watopia. I'm like,
really?
Damn. That
Why
would have
did
been
we miss
awesome
that?
to see.
How did we miss that?
I don't have a picture of that. Oh, disappointing. But that's a cool and quite a few people have commented just saying like, can you just keep that there? Like don't fix that.
Yeah, leave those seals in the air. That's great. That's awesome.
I know.
Oh gosh.
Oh
well,
gosh.
you know, that there's so much that could get expanded on the rider highlight. Like I think when it comes to interactions and like a social / competitive environment in some ways, I mean, which Zwift always kind of has been, even if it is just group riding, even if it is just going for the banners and you know what I mean, kind of a thing, it's always got that social / and I think that there's a lot that can be done with the highlight. And I'd really like to know in the comments, like, it's one thing for us as talking heads to sit here, but like if we all put all of our heads together and get the best ideas possible, that would, you know, this is a great feedback space. So below in the comments on YouTube or wherever you're watching, if you're on Facebook, like I definitely want to highlight the ideas that are out there about the rider highlights and see what we can push for, because the more voices around one thing, the more attention it's going to get. I really, really, really think this one especially can advance the interaction space when it comes to how we race and how we interact in group rides, etc. So, and especially the team aspects to it. So let us know all your thoughts. Absolutely love to hear them. Put them in the comments. The live is good, but the comments after the show, that's the place to really put them, because those live on forever in the internet.
Sorry, I've got another idea before we move on to a bit of Zwift Academy. Is another idea I had with Rider Highlight is having, because you know how in the commentary you're doing now, you've got the like health bar.
Mm-hmm.
Is even just having, when a rider's attacking, their light becomes a bit stronger.
Yeah.
So like, you know, on the right-hand side, it goes orange if they're sprinting, the numbers, but you have to kind of look across, and it goes bold if you go over like 4 watts a kg. Just have that as like a subtle highlight where you go like, oh, they're pushing. You know, it'd be quite visually cool.
Goku, you go Super Saiyan. Little bit of wah, wah, wah. Okay, so then, and I think the teams obviously is one, being able to identify people matching to that sidebar. Absolutely love that one. Keep them coming, everybody. Keep them coming. I think this is one that a lot of iterations can happen to make things really cool. So Zwift Academy, the first 2 episodes have been out. We obviously know who the finalists are. Just want to give quick thoughts on the Zwift Academy so far with the 2 episodes, because definitely something that's out there in the community right now. Anna, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I've watched both episodes. I like them. I think they're quite, I get like, it's like any reality show. I get sucked in straight away to their stories, and I'm like, I want this person to win, and you always get like a little bit of heartbreak, and I like the way they're storytelling it. It's quite cool. I'm really enjoying it, actually. I watched episode 2 today. I also love how brutal the Elperson brothers are, whoever they are that like own Elperson. They're just like, man, just black and white, like, oh, that's not good enough.
Yeah, they are very, like, they're
wow. Like,
I had a thought today while I was watching, and they're obviously a successful team. Did they ever race? Like, I was kind of like, I was wondering, like, when did they race? What was their background in racing? Kind of a thing. Cause like, they're very scientific, and I get this sense with them, and I don't know, like I should have done my research before I started talking about this, but like, I get this sense of like people who are really into bike racing from outside the racing scene that can have like a different point of view than a racer. But I'm always kind of like, where's the racer point of view then too? You know what I mean? And I think that's part of how they're so black and white, of like, they're very numbers game oriented. It feels like like when they were doing those lactate tests. Did you see that they at the end of those efforts that they did today? They had lactate tests at the end, and they were like, oh, we were off. We didn't push them hard enough. The level of these riders is so high that we thought their lactate levels would be way higher when they would finish these intervals. So then they had to like go push them harder even, like to try and get the lactate levels harder.
And he made a really funny comment. He was like, if he can ride this well, why have we never heard about him? And I was like, what a weird comment, but like, I guess, but I'm sure there's probably a ton of riders out there who don't ride in European pelotons, who aren't in like a junior development program, who are like,
there's
really
I give him credit to I'll give the comment credit to the reality of like whatever scene you're in, you think that's the scene. You know what I mean? And being involved in the pro peloton, it's probably a very like, here's who's who. And like the reality, like this is a very different kind of way of looking at it. But like when I was first getting involved I thought the Wisconsin scene was the scene, you know what I mean? And like, wow, like this pro is racing, and we had a pretty good lively culture where people were like getting paid contracts just to race in the Midwest and state level. Like that's how high the competition was with the mountain biking. But then somebody was like, Nathan, like, and when I was first getting going, they're like, you're too old. Like the idea of this 24-year-old, I was like that same kind of guy. They're like, yeah, well, you got to come up through a development program. You're not going to make it, blah, blah, blah. And I was told that story over and over and over again. And I was like, whatever, I'm going to make it. I'm going to go, like, I'm going for it. And, but they were like, well, then you're going to have to race another level above this. It's like, whoa, there's another scene outside of this scene. Like, okay, where's that? And then they were like, the national scene, the Norba scene. And then they were like, and then beyond that, you got to go to the World Cup scene. And then beyond, and there was like this whole like, I was like, oh, so there's like level beyond level. And I think like there's something there to like, they're at this top level and in Europe, and there isn't anything really outside of that they can even see. You only see what's in front of you. You know what I mean? And so this discovery program that Zwift Academy does offer does at least, that's why this is someone who is in their garage on a platform, just trying to find a way to get somewhere where they had a dream and like, there's no contact point. There just isn't.
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting is that Laura Simic from Slovenia, Slovenia, she was saying in the episode today, like she was going around her like friends who own companies and things and being like, can we start a women's team? And she's in Europe, she's in Slovenia, but she was like, our country's so small, there wasn't like a team for me to race with. And I was like, oh, wow, like, yeah, that's brutal. Also, she's like, a freaking full-on scientist. Like when they went into her backstory and she's like with the like microscopes and stuff, I was like, wow, okay, like she's pretty smart.
It makes me wonder, like it makes me also think about, is cycling in general still pretty young comparatively? Like, I don't know, like the jump from, it's not a pair of shoes and a ball. And so because of like, it's complicated, and the barriers are multifaceted to grow a sport that takes this much to make it happen, and so because of that, you probably have this. I don't know though, like golf and hockey are pretty expensive.
No, but even like football, like I know in the UK, and maybe someone from the UK can tell me more about this, but I've heard that there are talent scouts for like Manchester United at under sevens football. Like you still have to be like scouted in from that point. And if you're not kind of in it, I guess that's kind of what they're finding.
But like I said, but okay, to give every one of those kids a bike. So that's what I'm saying. Like the hurdles, like there's a lot of hurdles to growing the sport. It's not a ball and a pair of shoes. You can give every one of those kids a ball and a pair of shoes. Here you go. And there's a field, go. You know what I mean? And so like now you need for a cycling team, you need a road. You need, you know what I mean? You need all the bikes. You need all the, and so that's where, and that's where I do think the online platform though, with trainers but then it's got to be fun. It's got to be entertaining. Do they want to? You see, it's complicated. It's not just like simple. Like, and there needs to be a very organized, concerted effort. You know what I mean? Worldwide, like, to
I'd be kind of
get that going.
Interested to know, outside of this, how does someone get into the European peloton? Like outside of a Zwift Academy, how do you just send in like your CV to as many teams as humanly possible and then hope that someone looks at your power data and is like, oh yeah, you're really good. But yeah, I don't know, like, or go on your national team and hope that your national team gets like a spot at a race.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, because so I have some experience like through trying to figure this out, both for myself, for Gabriella, for juniors that I was working with in order to train them up through Vision Cycling. And like, there's a reality of like, you've got to put a lot out there up front in resources and time and effort just to get to the places, to get the results that would then it's got to go good on that day. And it's got to go good on those days over and over and over again. So like, and then your structure of sport within your country might not even offer the level that's needed to show a result. So then you got to go to a different country. Like even in the USA is a huge country, right? And there's only H1s, H2s, H3s at very specific states at very specific times where you have to spend a few $1,000s just to get to those places on those weekends, on those specific couple weekends out of every single year, to find the points to say, look, I have these points against this level. And then you've got an entire hungry, very resource heavy individuals from all over the world who might have the right funding or the right whatever behind them to go. Do you see, like, it's complicated and resource heavy to make it happen?
It's so easy for triathlon because you're like a privateer. If you want to go professional, you just go professional. Well, like you have to meet a standard and get endorsed by your national federation, but you just go do some local races that prove that you're good enough. Your local federation endorses you and you get your pro card and then you go race pro. Like you don't have to be on a team and then go find a race that your team can even get an entry into. You just go into those races. It's a lot easier.
Well, that's mountain bike too, but okay, but that didn't cost you thousands of dollars to go to all those races?
Yeah, but you can do local ones, They have series around
and
here.
That gives you standings. Now, my question then is that because New Zealand is a smaller pool and like you guys might be able to get discovered a lot quicker?
No, I don't think so. I think the point I'm trying to make here, I think maybe we're at like different points. I know you're talking about the barriers of entry from cost. I'm talking about the barriers of entry here, looking at the Zwift Academy, of what some of them have talked about, of the fact that they can't get recognized by a team, and you can't just go rock up and be like, I want to do the Tour de France. I'm really good. Like say in triathlon, to get to Kona.
I see what you're saying.
Do you get what I'm saying?
In triathlon, you can just go prove yourself and like, that's it. There's no like barrier other than like, just go prove yourself at races and work your way up those races.
And it kind of, watching the Zwift Academy made me think like, there must be a ton of people around the world who could be unbelievable, who could be the next Lotte Kopecky or Remco or whatever, but they're never going to find a way to get noticed, to get on a team, to get in the peloton, to get some results.
Mm-hmm. It's an interesting
Yeah.
one. I mean, like, there's also the reality of like seeing again. Okay, so like, there's a reality of, well, how many teams are there, and like, it's not like I have to go play. Like, let's say I'm playing NFL, National Football League. Where do you go play to make a living? Well, you could play in the US to make a really, really, really good beyond a living, right? But there's also other countries where you could go and play football, American football, and get a contract and make a living doing that. You know what I mean? Like, and so there's the growth of the sport within the countries then too, where it has enough attention to have that kind of a support structure. You know what I mean? Because like you said, what you just named was like, well, there's this elite crew in Europe that has that opportunity because that's where cycling's huge. And you have to, you know what I mean? Now growing in those other countries is a whole nother thing because, well, why couldn't you just race US? There's a whole bunch of, so it's like, yeah, anyways, that's an interesting one. Different ways to tackle that.
Pivoting away, who are your picks? Episode 2.
I can't.
Women and
no,
men.
I'm not.
Okay, I'll give you my picks. So I think.
So, okay, I got to say, I'm close. I feel closer to the women than I do to the men. I have no clue who these men are, honestly. Like,
I'll tell you why. Because the women, this is quite interesting. The women are at Zwift level 50, 65, and 40. Yep. The men are at Zwift level 16, 21, and 23. Yep. And with the new leveling up, they could basically be on Zwift for like a week and get up to level 16.
Yeah. Yep. And so that's why. That's exactly why. No, that's exactly why. And I was going to say that like I've seen every one of the women race in Zwift at one point or very recently and be very committed to Zwifting. Whereas on the men's side of things, like, I think those are guys who are like Zwift Academy. That's what I'm all about here. I want to race in the road and I'm going to use this as a tool. Whereas the women's side of things are a little bit more Zwifters.
Absolutely. Because you look at Katie Hill is on AO. Like this was so cool on the episode. She's riding around in real life in an AO jersey. I was like, I just raced AO yesterday. Like, it was so cool, right? It was awesome. And sorry, I'm just going to say that's why it made me look at Katie and go, I want her to win. Because I was like, this is so cool. It's like a women's community team. And I think Laura Simic, you said, rides for Wahoo Lacole as well.
Yep, Wahoo Lacole. Yep. And Maud used to race pretty high level. Maddie raced high level Zwift as well for a long time. And I think focused in on more real life in the last year or two, just specifically because she was able to get on to a lower level, like able to be amongst Peloton team that would then support her to try and make that jump. And now she's taking advantage of doing the Zwift Academy again because she has tried before to get into the finalists. So I'm going to go. So I'm like all
Katie
of them.
Hill.
I like all of them because they're all
you
Zwifters.
go all the women. Yeah. I'll go Katie Hill, the woman, and then I think Anton Schiffer, one of the Germans, for the men. He's the highest level Zwifter too, so I don't know if that swayed me, but he seems like he's got a cool attitude, and I quite liked him.
On the men's side of things, I liked Anton a lot too because he's the oldest. I also think like, it's tough. It's a tough one here. I'm going to go with Anton as well. He's shown the numbers. I think like he's put the work in and that's part of the reason why is like, I feel like not the other guys haven't, but so far from what we've seen, he's the best all arounder. And so maybe shows. And the other thing is this age thing. I wanted to put a comment on YouTube and be like, what about like Roglic? What about I just feel like there's so many stories nowadays of people who swapped sports later in life, got discovered, and then ended up being like a top talent. I just think this age thing just like needs to go away. Like I'm just I I don't really understand it because of how many different athletes that we've seen come into the sport at like not the traditional development time. And I guess maybe it's like, well, this is our best bet. If you're making market bets, our best bet is to take someone that we could develop from a younger age and that, you know what I mean? And not take as much risk, you know? So I do understand that. And it's a weighing thing. But at the same time, I look at all the, but again, you have privateer. That's almost like the privateer route where it was like, well, you got lucky and somebody noticed you and they gave you a chance later in life, but that's not the norm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Before we go on to Zwift Games, I do want to say that I think 4 out of the 6 finalists all did triathlon. Just putting that out there.
Whatever. Whatever. Yeah, Anton went over from triathlon. I mean, he definitely got the numbers. But there is something there. I gotta say, like, there's a lot of really strong triathletes. Look at least Gallegos lately. I mean,
Yep.
Something to be said there.
Okay.
I don't even want to admit that. What the heck are you doing to me? Like, get that away. Like, no.
There's something there. There's something there.
Everyone starts doing triathlon, starts running. No, don't do it, people.
Oh
okay.
my gosh.
Zwift Games. Wow, I didn't expect so much to be going on. Like that we went on for quite a while before we hit the main topic today, which is kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting there to be that much, but obviously we've got plenty to talk about. But everything you need to know about Zwift Games, you know, one of the coolest things I'm seeing about the announcements that are coming out about Zwift Games, when I read through, we've got a little bit of sneak peek to some announcements that are coming out tomorrow, which I'm really thankful to Zwift for them sharing this across. The community attached to the elite racing stuff, that, like, now that I'm getting an inside look to this, is really encouraging, actually, what I'm seeing with that. So all Zwifters are invited to take part in 5-stage series with the game registration. In-game registration is live right now. So you can go in-game and you'll see at the top of your menu screen, as when you go into your, like, what are you going to do? Where am I going to go? I'm going to go into events or whatever. You'll see a little Zwift Games thing. You can register in-game now. And online registration through a web portal opens up Monday, February 26th. Stages run 1 through 5, and it's kind of running like you see the Z Racing is running, like similar to that you can kind of build on your Zwifters who compete in all 5 races.
Time.
You can build on a GC time overall, which is tracked on Zwift Power the same way that things are with Z Racing.
And there might be a women's only lot of races coming too. I know that the guests we had on last week, Becca Nielsen in particular, is trying to work on that as well. So that's also, I'm going to point some friends towards that. But I think what we'll do is, with the elite racing, we'll cover off the start lists and the courses and what could happen in the elite racing, like the podcast before that elite race is going to happen. Otherwise, we're going to be here for the next 3 hours. But why don't we talk a little bit about the courses? Because everyone likes new routes. Everyone likes new route badges. I've sort of had a bit of a look. I'm hopefully going to recon one of them this weekend. But the community race schedule for Zwift Games follows on from what the elites are doing. So similar
Quickly,
courses.
do you think I didn't ask this. I should have asked this because it popped in my head just now. We're going to still have Z Racing, or is Zwift Games going to be Z Racing for the month? I wonder.
Don't know.
Because I don't know what the next month's Z Racing is. So, because that's
I reckon
a lot
it'll just be this.
I wonder if that's what's going to happen, because essentially it's like the same Z Racing kind of format except for attached to Zwift Games. So I wonder if that's what's up there.
Because someone else I saw ask the question if they haven't seen any registration open for Tour de Zwift or Tour de Watopia, which would usually open around now, and I would imagine that they've pushed that out as well.
We already had. Didn't we already have that?
No, what's the other one? There's Tour of Watopia and Tour of Zwift. I don't know which one we've had, but
I thought we had both already.
No, I think the other one's a bit later. I think we just had Tour de Zwift.
Okay.
The terrible kit one, with the bucket hat and stuff. Stage one.
This is kind of cool, actually. A very punchy course.
Same for all categories A through D for the community. And for the elites, this stages 1, 2, 3. No, stages. The first race is 3 of these back to back. But anyway, for the community, which we'll focus on here, they are doing this loop-de-loop as stage 1. It's 24.9 kilometers, 12.4 kilometers per lap. I haven't recon this or seen a video of it yet, but it's an interesting course. It kind of goes from downtown, then heads over the S's down S's. That's what I call them, S's.
And then you go straight
through the JWB sprint, and then around a loop, which I'm trying to like picture in my head. That loop, like I can't quite get it. Like I assume, so it's got the picture. Oh, that's cool. It's got the picture of Pippo's Pizza. So you go through that little town area, and then you take a sort of like left. So you don't go down the dirt Italian descent bit towards the volcano. You take a left.
And then you take the new cutoff. You take the new cutoff and go back over the bridge through the Essie's reverse.
Yes, that's the cutoff bit I forgot. That's where the seals would have been floating and above. That's where the seals are, right?
Oh,
that little cutoff.
I think I remember seeing that now. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so then you go back through the Essie's the way you just came. So that's the loop part of it. That's the loop part of it. And then you go over the Essie's and then back up the climb, Watopia forward, hilly route climb, down the other side, but you only go until the cutoff right there. And you go back and you take a quick right and downhill.
Yes. And then
you start the whole thing again.
Okay. I quite like this. So 289 meters of elevation. This would be a great ZRL course as well in future seasons.
Totally.
Yeah, amazing. Because there's a lot of areas you could break away, like the S's, hold it to the climb, go up the climb, or will you stay on a breakaway on the long descent? Then you got the cutoff. Yeah, so I think this course is going to be a lot of fun.
That descent is like that descent into the bridge, into the lap arch is so quick and so fast, and you can take so much speed to attack into the Essies again. Man, that's such a good launch pad. But then on the final lap, going uphilly forward, like the decision point right there is going to be so crucial because you come over the top and then you're like, who's here, who's not, decision point, because you could keep pressing on or set up for a sprint. And if the sprinters get back on, it's a delight for them if they set things up right, because that descent with that cutoff back over the bridge, again, it's a perfect, just high power, high speed sprint. So you want to make sure that when you go over the top of there, you're getting rid of them. So it's going to be bonkers that last time over hilly route forward. Absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. And for the elites, just want to say that, race 1 is 2 laps of this loop-de-loop, and only 30 riders continue on to race 2, which is a Jurassic Coast route. So for the elites who have to do all 3. Does that all happen
on the same day?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So if we go through the elites now, day 1 for the Sprint Championship overviewers, they do that loop-de-loop, 2 laps of it. Only the top 30 go through to round 2, which is a Jurassic Coast course, which we'll go through soon. That's 1 lap, but that's still 20 kilometers basically. And then the top 10 of that go through into the Glasgow Crit Circuit. So yeah, that loop-de-loop course, trying to get into top 30, like you said, that second lap time up the Zwift KOM, like, that is going to blow. And then if you haven't made it, you're just going to have to push so incredibly hard on that descent. It could literally end up with a sprint at the end of like 80 people. Like the women have got like over 100 on the start list and the men is like 300. Can you imagine 300 on this course at the end?
300? No, there's like 170, I thought, 180. It's still a lot. Not 300. Oh my gosh.
Are you
really?
sure?
No, I'm not sure.
I think it's
maybe it changed. I did see a start list and I thought it was like 180, but maybe it's more than I thought. That's crazy if there's that many. So, okay, this is what you just talked about. Jurassic Coast. This is also pretty cool because it leads into a sprint, but you got to make it over Titans Grove, then through the woodland sprint, and then the finish line. What is that finish? Where is that finish line? Like, is that the last one by the temple like area? Is that what that is?
Sorry, I'll correct. The men are just under 200.
Like 180, like I said.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll just get too excited. Like 300. I saw like 4 pages of names. I was like, there's got to be about 300. Just under 200, which still is wild coming in. That could be 100 people sprinting for top 30.
Oh my gosh.
In race 1. Race 2, yeah, dress at coast. I also personally, again, I look at this from I hope they have this in ZRL. It's so cool. Like, I love that Titans Grove climb. And then I love that you go through, it's almost like sugar cookie a little, because you go around the coast, but not all the way. So then you've got like a lot of flat rolling. And Titans is so early.
And you get an arrow over Titans. You get an arrow over Titans too.
No. So it's so early. So do you even bother going really hard in Titans or not? And then I think just looking through, I'm pretty sure in the elite race, there might be some money preems around that Titans. I'd have to have a look. But I think it's just, what do you do here? Because if you want to break it on Titans, you've got a long way to the finish.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but here's the thing. After that first one, here's the thing about the reality of them being back-to-back scratch races like this. Because that first race, and there's only 15 minutes between, I think that it's going to start becoming attritional where people could start taking, on the first one, make it through. Then you've only got 30 riders to deal with. Now everything changes. Because you don't have a large pack to chase you down. And people's legs are tired. Now you can start taking more risks.
Yeah.
I think
for the elites, only top 10 go through. So
they might start letting people go. What if they let people go? I just need to make top 10.
Yeah. And you look at some of the riders, you look at, I don't know, Kristen Kulczynski, if she's racing this. She would want to make Titans so incredibly hard and then have someone with her or a few people with her where they can just TT away all the way to the finish. Because do you want to come to the finish with 30 people and some of them are like Lou Bates and people who can sprint like crazy? You just can't leave it to that chance. So that I'm I'm pretty interested. I mean, I'm doing this, so I guess I'll be interested in the actual race if I make it through, as to how that Titans Grove is going to play out. And also that coastal road is actually quite rolling.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty rolling. Huh. Interesting. So then is there a break then? Stage 4 is Glasgow Crit.
For the elites. So for the elites, that's just race 1. So the sprint championship is loop-de-loop, Jurassic Coast, top 10 go through to Glasgow Crit. But for the Zwift Games community, you've done stage 1 loop-de-loop, stage 2 is Jurassic Coast, stage 3 now.
Well, just making that clear for everyone.
It's
the stages
different.
Then, just to make everybody clear, the stages are talking about Zwift Games for everyone. And since it's connected to the community and the elite racing, just to keep naming kind of clear across and kind of creating confusion, that it's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, but race 3, if we say race 3 for the elites, then is the Glasgow Crit, which happens to be the stage 4 for the entirety of the community.
Correct. So they separate a little bit here. So stage 3 for the community is the Epic course. For categories A and B, it's the Zwift Games 2024 Epic course, 81.6 kilometers, 878 meters of elevation. C and D categories do Three Little Sisters, so not the same course. But I want to talk about the Zwift Games 2024 Epic because I love me an 81.6 kilometer race, and I loved when they had these in Grand Prix, the long races, and it's great. The course, I've looked it through. I'm actually going to ride it this weekend. I get to do one of the recons. And you kind of start, there is a climb there, isn't it? I think you start almost immediately with the Zwift KOM. So you basically come out of the banner, go straight up the Zwift KOM steep side, then go flat for a while, then go into Titans, then come down onto the coast and do all of those 4 sprints along the coast. So like Woodland, Sasquatch, Acropolis, Stoneway. Then you hit the jungle loop, which we know just goes uphill for a drag for a long time. Then you go back into Titans. Then you've got the hilly loop that you do with a sprint in there. Then the Zwift KOM, I think the other side, and then into the finish. So like, what a course.
Yeah, this course is absolutely crazy, honestly. Like, this is and there's money on the line as well with some preems in there. I
the
do think
elites,
we
yeah.
have over at Zwift Insider, he did put together this route actually. And there is Zwift KOM followed up by Titans Grove KOM, followed up by a bunch of sprints along the coast. Then we're climbing through the dirt. I actually just did this today with the A Pacer bot. It was so hard. And then we go across that coast, or that coastal,
Yes.
such a great little section there. Then down into the reverse of, or no, that's the forward, forward of Titans Grove on the Sasquatch sprint. There's money there as well for the elites.
Yeah.
Then we're coming back over into the Essies, down through the sprint. Then you're going back up the KOM all the way through to what? We go down. Wait a second. What was that?
Yes, I think that goes.
We do the cutoff and then go back through the Essies and do the.
No, you don't do the cutoff. You don't do the cutoff.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Really
no, you do
confused there.
you do the long side of the KOM down into the finish.
Interesting. Well, I'm seeing. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at this. So what do we got here?
Wait, no. Does it finish? You are
Uphill.
right. You finish at the top of the KOM.
Yep.
Oh,
I think
wow.
that's where. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, because you go through the Watopia downtown banner and then go straight up the KOM. Wowza. Oh wow, that's an intense way to finish 81 kilometers.
At
So
the
it says
end
it's,
of 81K, you
yeah.
have to sprint to the top of Hilly KOM forward. What is your
Oh my
prediction?
God.
135?
Oh, wow.
They're not going to do a low 120 up that for the men's. Like the men's fastest times when you were racing like top level were in like the 120s. I think they're going to be tired and do like a 130 to 135. Maybe I'm wrong, but jeez.
That's just wild. I can't believe that's how it finishes. I just sort of finished it downtown. Can you imagine after 81 kilometers just smashing into that? So you've just done it as well. Like you've just gone up the long side, come down, go around and go up the short side. Oh man, that is so
Yeah, because you go through the banner, you go
hard.
through the lap banner after doing the Essie's reverse, and then
Yep.
you've got there
Through
it
the
is right in front of you.
Oh my gosh, and the steep side of that too. Oh wow. Okay, yeah. This course is.
Gabby says
awesome.
my prediction is 15 gels. That's the prediction. The prediction isn't who's going to win. It's just how many gels am I going to have to consume.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a great. Like I've got to say though, that's a great course.
Yeah. Well put together course. Really well put together course, honestly. For the C's and D's, it's a little bit different though. They're doing Three Little Sisters, which is 37 point. Now this is a no joke course as well though. Like that's epic, but this is also what we used to use for. Wasn't this what was used for? Was it just regular Three Sisters or was it Three Little Sisters? No, it wasn't Three Little Sisters, but they used to use something similar to this for your power tests, but they would do Three Sisters and you have to do a 20 minute at the end, right? Over the top of the KOM, the Epic KOM. But instead it looks like Zwift KOM, Titans Grove, and Volcano. Very punchy course with the Volcano. And then their finish though here, it looks like is downtown rather than on a climb.
Yeah. That's good. But still, like it's almost 40 kilometers. It's a long race and 434 meters of elevation. So another good course. I do actually really like that one.
All right, so that is the community stage 3. It is the single stage for the epic racing for the elites. But then stage 4, which is the final stage for the sprinters competition, Glasgow Crit for 5 laps. What do you think? This is pretty short in some ways, but after 3 races for the sprint championship, it's not going to feel very short. And I think that it's going to completely blow apart. I think we're going to come down to 2 or 3 riders, maybe 4 tops, after so much racing, a final race for 5 laps, hitting the Clyde kicker every lap. I think people are just going to be absolutely smoked, and you're going to have so much opportunity to break away. Drafting power up is going to make it really interesting to hang on and counter, though.
Yeah, so just, so again, for the elite racing, this is race number 3 of the sprint championships. And for the community, we've got it as stage 4, same number of laps. Yeah, I don't know. Like this is, if there's anything I'd say, I was like surprised that Glasgow Crit Circuit was in there. Jen will hate me saying that because she absolutely loves this course. I thought they might, because they've kind of got a theme of a whole bunch of new routes. I thought maybe they would have chucked in one of those new ones that was in Neokyo that was a rebel route that kind of is like a crit circuit.
Oh, the castle. The
villages.
Castle Crit? That was a cool one.
Yeah. So I kind of thought they'd do that. I mean, I don't mind Glasgow Crit. I think it's got a lot there with the Clyde kicker, and you can go. I've found a great place to go early for the championship sprint. So yeah, I think it's good.
I think it's a horse apiece. Both of them, like they're both. This is a world championship course. We've seen great races on it, so I think it'll give us good racing. You know, I do have a sweet spot though right now for that new Castle Crit course, and it would have been a good choice as well. Like, and it would have made things a little newer in some ways because that course, that other course does have a good little climb, a punchy climb on it that you can roll a lot of speed into. And then after you come through the banner on the Castle Crit, you actually have a little bit of a punch out to come back around into the castle, which makes it, and then it's all kind of flat and descending, but you can attack on the descent too. So like that course is very balanced in some ways. Whereas like Glasgow Crit though, here's the difference. Glasgow Crit rewards punch, 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 punch. Like it's like boom, 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 like over and over and over again. And I think that's what they're looking for. I think like that's kind of why is like they're looking for who's the punchiest rider that can like go orange numbers over and over and over again and just break everybody. Like that. Sprinter.
I get it.
Yeah. So that's
I probably just don't have much to say about it. Like I feel like it's been in ZRL a lot. It's been a world champs. Like I don't think there's anything new I can say. Like it's a great course.
Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, like,
that makes
fun.
sense. That makes sense. Totally. So then stage number 5. We've got 2 different stages, and
Road to Sky. Oh gosh, this one.
Ouch. Well, like if you're a pure climber, you're like, yeah, woohoo, yippee, this is so amazing. And then like if you're not, you're like, okay,
yay,
I really got to get ready for this one. This is gonna be, oh man, this is
gonna be a bit like I've signed up for it in the elite racing, but I'm not afraid to admit that I don't know if how high my motivation will have to be so high to just go do this for fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, because it's just going to be so brutal. But I think, like I said before, maybe I'll just do it as an FTP test, like a way to do it with friends, maybe. But yeah, again, not a new course. Just settle into your pain cave and put on some good tunes and go for it.
So then the new thing here, though, so we've seen this before. It's going to be a good battle at the top. We'll see who's really put their threshold efforts into work, what kind of work they've been doing, more of that GC kind of rider. But then this is new. This is a completely new course. We haven't seen this course before. Really cool to see. And that's what I liked about this a lot, too, is like the amount of kind of launching side by side Zwift games, but also some new stuff for the community and the entirety of Zwift that goes right alongside of it, packaged with this elite racing. I really like those things being put together and the way that's been done with this. So Mountain Mash, this is an interesting start spot. I've never seen an event start from
The reverse.
Yeah, going this direction from the jungle start area. So this starts by the jungle where you usually go down the hill right away. I've never seen us go left out of there. Do you know any route that goes left out of that jungle start?
Absolutely not. And I think that's where, like, to be honest, when I first looked, I was like 5.9 kilometers. But it's actually from the jungle left out of the start pens straight up Epic Climb. And it's the hard part of Epic Climb.
Oh, it's not the other way. Oh.
Yeah. So
Ouch.
I think
I almost
this is
wish
a good
we were
one.
doing this one. I kind of like this one better. I don't want to go up the Alp to Zwift.
I know,
Send
same.
us up the Mountain Mash.
I know. This is like 17 minutes versus like 50. The thing I like, and what you actually just brought
That's a
up,
more tactical side too. That's the more tactical side,
Yeah.
Anna. Way more tactical because you have these little reprieves that you can grab on, and you have these like downhill punches, and then like the end is like the end
Flat.
of that one even has some flat into a punch into a flat. Like it's way more tactical that way. Way more tactical than Up to Zwift.
And what I really like, what you just mentioned, which I didn't think about, is because it's the first route that I've seen, like you said, go the other way, not go into jungle, but start from those pens and go back towards Watopia, essentially. You could open up, if they opened up routes going that way, like you could go immediately like up the climb, down along the bypass. Like there's a lot you can do by going that way, right? So I think, I hope that they do more routes going off that way. Because you could, like, one route I would love to see is like Epic Loop. So you could just go out the jungle that way, maybe like down the bridge, down the steep bit, around, back up Epic, down. And, like there's a lot you can do in that little space. So
yeah, and it's early enough. The climb is early enough that you don't have this big long lead in to get to the climb. You just do the climb, get out of the way, and then like go do something else a little bit, and then like find some other maybe littler climb. Like there's a lot of cool routes that actually can be a part of that because you can hit both the forward epic half, like with a quarter of it cut off, right? Or the reverse epic with a quarter of it cut off. So it's not this like massive undertaking, but it's enough that you got to really hang on for this climb. It's a little bit shorter. Yeah, that's a good point. And the other side of those climbs are both somewhat tactical where you could do something on the other side of them and like mess around in the descent to try and, get the better of others. So definitely a cool new start pens. I really like where they put that. And I'm a little bit jelly, I got to say, a little jealous of the Season Ds on this one.
I know. And I kind of realized like, I'm not going to be able to unlock it. I won't be able to have the tick because like you can't do it. Like, so the Season Ds have got a new route that the A's and Bs can't do.
Wait, are we like we just, well, like right now, probably for the month or
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, probably in April or maybe later it'll get unlocked where it's like, okay, here you go. You can use it for courses. It'd be a great, I don't know if it's a good ZRL course. It's a little bit much climbing for a ZRL, I think. Yeah.
But it'd be a good Grand Prix. It would be a great Grand Prix course.
Or Kiss Racing, a couple laps on that for Kiss.
Oh my God. You're like a sucker for punishment. So I think that's all the courses. Is that all the courses? And then that's all the courses. That's the end of stage 5. I do want to talk unlocks because that's actually what I'm more here for. Very cool. You would have seen like Zwift has changed all their logos everywhere. So it's not the orange Z anymore. It's this like Zwift games, like the Roman Empire kind of, what do you call that? What do they call that they wear on their heads? And it's like
Oh, what is that?
Like Caesar would wear it.
Because you said it, I don't know. Like I had like I'm
gonna
help us
write
out, everybody. What is the little like crown that has the
like a wreath.
Wreath.
It's actually called
Is it called a wreath though? I feel like it's like a wreath crown, but it's called something else. Like besides that.
Apparently it's actually called a coronet. But anyway, it's that thing. It's like
there you go.
Yeah. It's like that shape anyway. The branding's really cool.
Laurel?
It's like a great gold color. Laurel, yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. I feel like I haven't quite got it. But anyway, this is where I saw it. Over 300 elite athletes from 33 countries are participating in the
Men and
elite
women.
games.
Men and women.
That's where I
Yeah,
got 300.
gotcha.
That's where I
Okay.
got the 300.
All right, I'll let it
I knew
pass.
I'd
I'll
seen
give
it
you a
somewhere.
pass. I'll give you a pass.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you're talking
Um,
about the new branding. That's going to be everywhere. So we do have some cool little image, and that's what you're talking about. Is this new coloring that's around some of this stuff? I think is what you're getting after.
it looks great.
Now, speaking of partners, you see on there Oakley. Now, some of the new unlocks you saw there. We saw Oakley on that banner just a second ago. That's interesting. That Zwift's been doing some background on the commercial side of things when it comes to esports.
Yes. So the one thing I am unbelievably stoked about is if you look at their shoes, you're going to do any one stage and you'll unlock the Adidas Tempo 3 Stripes BOA cycling shoes. Now, if you've heard me enough on the pod, you know I love myself some Adidas. Adidas. Yep, there we go. But what got me more excited was I remember I was so close to buying these shoes, and then I wanted to be able to wear them outside, but they were like indoor and they had like a funny Velcro thing. These are like legit Adidas, like BOA cycling shoes. So I might go check these out in real life.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's at. They've definitely upped their game in the development. I was wondering if they were going to walk away or they were going to continue on. And it looks like they've continued on and really committed to the cycling space. And it's a great partnership with Zwift. I'm excited to have these in game. I always go with something with I always have struggle finding a match that isn't just straight black or straight white. And I think this is going to be a really great mix between the two when you're looking for that sleek kind of kit look. Yeah. That's got a little bit of the accent with the white, but then also has the black. You'll be able to match it with a lot of different kits in game. So I think they're a great shoe for the edition as well.
And I'll go into it in one of our full kit roundups, but you do any 3 stages, you get the Zwift Games kit. And once I've got that kit in my garage, we'll rate that. But at the moment, it's looking pretty sweet. I do like the full black, matte black look.
Yeah, and what do they have on their face there? If we can get
Oakley,
a good look at Oakleys, they're all wearing those glasses, it looks like, right? I think.
Yeah, that's what you get for doing any 2 stages is the Oakley Sphera glasses.
Any 4 stages. Here. Give me a front look, Zwift. What's going on with all these? Like, I'm just looking at butts here. Come on. We got to see the Oakleys in the like. Where are they in the video? We don't see them in the video, but we can get. Come on. All right, but they look so cool. I want to see them, but here we go over the top of that's on the that's up at the top of the Zwift. There they are.
There we go. So you get those are the 2 stages, 3 stages, the whole kit, 4 stages, the gloves and socks. The socks look great. 5 stages, the Zwift Gold cap, which I actually don't mind. I'm not usually a huge cap fan in Zwift, but that one looks all right.
Yeah, that one's actually, I do like that one. Now, the thing is like, is it going to match with anything else is a big question, right? Like that is a little bit of a question. You with the Adidas, you can make a match because it's just the black and the white. This is a pretty specific color. So the kit's going to go really with itself. Yeah, exactly. It's great with itself. Yeah. I'm not sure it's going to match across anything else, but but I like it that it's a specific color. I like that because it really stands out as Zwift Games. It doesn't really, this is exclusive a little bit, right? Like gets that feeling because of the color choice, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good. Now, the elephant in the room. I was going to say monkey in the room. Elephant in the room.
Monkeys break things. The elephant.
Oh, sorry, elephants. We haven't talked about one of the biggest unlocks you get as an elite winning the Zwift Games. Should we go into our Jersey
which one are we talking
garage?
About? Which one are we doing here?
Jersey garage pick of the week.
Yeah. So
should we do that?
I mean, we don't even get the pick. It just barges its way into the room like an elephant. It just crushes the house. It just like, here we go. And there it is. That's the Super Saiyan Tron. I'm calling it the Super Saiyan Tron. It's the Goku Tron. Okay? Like
it is unreal. So you only get this if you're one of the elites and you win either the sprint championship, the epic championship, or the climb championship, or the overall.
So all four.
Any of those four.
So it is available to all four. Okay. Gotcha.
So
overall champion
concept,
winners will each receive. So it's along with the prestigious title, Zwift Games overall champion. Winners will receive an iconic gold concept Z1 bike in game for the year. A unique. Are you sure? What I'm reading here. What I'm reading here.
First and sprint champs get the gold concept bike,
and that's over at Zwift Insider. It says that.
Oh, I'm reading this on the Zwift Games Elite Championship race book.
Okay.
Or fan guide.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
There we go.
Gotcha.
So potentially 4 Goldtrons for women, 4 Goldtrons for men. But obviously if someone wins the epic and they win the overall, then there'll only be 3. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. Okay. But the thing I'm excited most about with this is when I first saw, before I saw the picture of it and I was like, oh, gold Tron. And then I was like, but you can already have a Tron in a gold color. Like you just use the color scale. So I was like, well, that's lame if it's kind of the same, but it's so different. Like instead of the rims being black, they're gold. And it just looks, you'll be able to see.
I think it's going to really stand out. I think it's going to really, really stand out. I wonder if the whole thing glows. I wonder if it's only the wheels that glow or if the whole thing glows a little bit. Be interesting. It has some interesting brakes on it. Does the regular Tron have those gold brakes? I don't think so. Unless I just don't know.
I think.
Well, maybe they just colored the black and you don't notice the black brakes. Maybe. Now I got to open up Zwift.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it does because the angle of this picture is kind of upwards. You'd never see it in this look before. But anyway, it looks bloody nice. And it sucks because it's like, there's no way I'm getting it, but it's so coveted. It's like, I just really, really want that. It is so nice.
So Wahoo Fitness, the leading endurance athlete fitness technology company, joins us as title sponsor. They're the title sponsor of the Wahoo Overall Zwift Games Championship and will be awarding exclusive and unique gold-painted Wahoo Kicker bikes to both the overall Zwift Games champions. The Wahoo Kicker bike promises unparalleled indoor riding experience with fully adjustability and climb simulation. Here it is. Look at this thing. So you can get a golden Tron in game and you get a freaking golden Wahoo Zwift Games branded kicker bike. What?
Amazing. So good. It's so nice. Oh my gosh. If only I was atop of the elite racing.
Talk about you got to have a pain cave with all kinds of LEDs going on or something too that can really glow the whole thing up. That's pretty cool. That's a good sponsorship. I like the title sponsor with Wahoo. And this is kind of cool. These guys were in court a year ago and now it's we'll make up. We've kissed and made up. Cause whoa, what the heck?
I know. Oh, and you know that I really want a gold smart bike though. But anyway, it's that golden Tron, it's kind of crushes my soul a bit because I just really want it. But anyway, it's whoever wins. Wow, you're going to get some great in-game swag. So
I got to answer this question. I did. So here we go. Now you don't talk about my current fashion. This is okay. There's nothing. I was kind of going out on a limb here, so no judgment because my level 98 unlocks gave me these. Yeah. Well, we have the Yenzi kit, right? So just stop. What? Just stop.
What is the
stop?
Oh, it's terrible.
I wanted to stand out in the ZRL. And I was like, whatever, I'm gonna look ugly. I'm fine with it. I wanted to stand out. So I really wanted pink that day with the shoes but I have to wear the Yenzi kit because everything else would work because that's our team kit. We have to wear it.
Are you rocking the ZRL winner's helmet? What humble brag, man. Oh my God.
It matches well with some of the kits I've been using lately. Come on.
Yeah, okay. Not that one.
Look. They are there. Those little things are there.
The handlebars.
They're there, but you just didn't notice them in the same way as you
Yeah.
notice them on the Golden
So, yeah, move
Tron.
your-
Because look, the Golden Tron has them gold and we have them black. So that's the difference
Move the
there.
scale up to yellow.
Okay.
See, this is what I mean. Like, I was worried that's what it was going to be.
Oh my gosh. Like, look
How
at the
wrong
difference.
I was.
Look at the difference. Like,
Yeah.
so
for those listening,
different.
yeah. The regular Tron bike is all black with yellow wheels, whereas the Golden Tron is the entire thing is golden apart from the seat.
What was the? I feel like there was one or two more details that we needed to. Maybe not. I think that was everything. That was kind of like the announcements. Going over. We'll get the start lists aren't public yet, and the there's some more things. We'll go into like really in depth for each week as we get into this for each of the courses and the races and who the racers are and our picks for the races and all that kind of stuff. But that was the main overview. What I really want an answer to, I don't have just yet. My eyes are burnt. Thanks a lot, Anna. I really, really appreciate your feedback. Look at this in chat too. This is like in our live chat. Anna is letting us know what she loves. My it is. It was bad. It was bad.
So bad.
I didn't have a choice. Look, when you're stuck with a really one kit and it's the same kit for like 3 years, there's not too many variations. I had to change it up. I just had to go outside the box a little bit here.
Okay. I will admit I am wearing the turtle socks at the moment. So mine's probably not looking great either.
See, we need some like club stuff here. We need custom club kits and highlights to go right along with it. Change everything. All right. So, all right. Well, that's it for us with our Zwift games, everybody. And I'm really excited actually for this. We'll get into each week as we get into the stages and the picks and how it all is going to play out, as well as pre-broadcast, post-broadcast. There'll be plenty here on the wrap as the Zwift game kicks off throughout the next the next 4 to 5 weeks, actually. So it's going to be quite the month of March and end of February. Go and sign up. Again, online registration, Monday, February 26th, 1 through 5 stages for the community and plenty of racing on the elite side of things. I'm actually on board as an analyst with some of the community members. So I'm really excited to be involved with the broadcast as well. I guess the elite start list got published over on Zwift Insider. Interesting.
There we go.
Okay.
Go check him out.
Eric, go check it out. Sounds good. All right. So that's going to be it for us this week for episode number 83. Anna, what are you up to for the next week? You got a whole different, like, because we start on Wednesdays now. We have a whole different
I know. I'm like,
schedule because you're
I'm
going right into the weekend. It's not the weekend already.
I know. I'm going to spend a lot of time thinking about our TTT strategy for next week's ZRL, which I cannot do because I'm traveling. But like, we have to win. If we don't win, we're not going to win.
Yeah, what happened? Like, so what did you end up? Because that was a big question mark over the top of our heads because we don't have points in game. But so then like we ended the broadcast and then I'd like move on with my life and go race my bike. What? So I don't just sit there and refresh on what's going on with the Riot team. I think other people do. They want to know. But I was like, okay, I'm going to go race my bike now. I have to go drink like 16 grams of baking soda now. So yeah, but so
yeah, so we were leading
third,
heading into
you
the
were
last
leading
sprint,
and now you're tied. Now you're tied.
Now we're tied at the top, and so we got to win. And I'm not racing, which I find really hard because the control freakness of me is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but you can just talk about their headbands. You can just do the Anna de-essing that you had in that amazing M. Nyquist video. And then you encourage them on.
So I'm not even de-essing, so I'm traveling. So Claire's de-essing. I'm writing the full plan though, because like we got to win.
Okay, so the control freak comes out still.
Yeah, exactly.
You still get to full plan. All right, if I'm not racing, I'm at least get to be the control freak, and you and Jen can have a fight about it afterwards.
I know, yeah, right. But other than that, I'm going to take the team through a TTT practice. over the weekend. I feel like I'm
Wow,
obsessing about
super
it.
serious over here. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
I know. Doing a couple of the route recons for the upcoming games, Zwift games over the weekend. And yeah, actually away for work next week. So not much training, but more working.
I'm going to be checking out those routes as well. There are some recon rides, so I'm going to be checking those out, the new routes for Zwift games. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think probably, I'm so boring. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm going to probably just do the Kiss 100. like I'm so boring. Like, no, honestly, like not boring, because Kiss 100 is not boring necessarily, but like, I don't know. I gotta find something. I gotta find another, like, something. And part of the reason is my times that I ride and can ride are really non-traditional. Like, they're really, really like, and so I end up like, well, I'll find competition in the Kiss 100 at this specific time, and all the other times don't work that well for me. Usually Sundays, sometimes, and so like, maybe if I can maybe get involved in the chasing tour that's coming up, the chasing tour is coming up pretty soon, and a couple other things. So, maybe I'll probably do a bunch of the Zwift games stuff too, once they are actually launched for the stages. Cause I can race the community. I don't have to race the elite with you guys. So I can go just do community stuff, but yeah, probably just Kiss 100 and some, we're also trying to plan so I'll say that I'll bring that out into the podcast, is like, we're talking a lot about what's coming up in real life for the season, and like trying to connect. So like, that's a for real, like, hey, come to the States, Anna, and race crit races with us, or go do some gravel stuff, or like
gravel.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, we're like chatting with M. Nyquist about like maybe heading to Colorado for a gravel race, or like
Nice.
we really want to connect with the community this year. In like a down to earth way. And, we don't just really do some like Zwift ambassador, head out into the world, grow the community in real life racing, make that connection and connect back with, something similar to what we had said last year. And we were able to do that in some ways, but really want to kick it off more this year. So that's kind of like where my head is going to be at. So rather than like what I'm going to do for riding, I think what I'm going to do for planning is probably more of what's happening over the next week, to try and connect with more of the Zwift community in real life. So yeah, that's about it. Next week's TTT. Oh, shout out. We're going to try and bring in some cameras for ZRL next week, and have a little bit more of like a higher end ZRL broadcast with the TT a little bit if we can. So if you are interested, jumping in on the Zoom, we'd love to have you across the A's and the C categories, just as a shout out there. So, well, that's going to be it for us. Episode number 83 on this Wednesday, February 22nd. Again, this is a podcast. Go ahead and search The Wrap and Zwift wherever you do download your podcast. You should find it pretty quickly. You can also obviously find everything about Zwift Community Live over at ZwiftCommunityLive.com, including the podcast, ZwiftCommunityLive.com/podcast. And this episode should be uploaded in the next 24 hours or so. We've been live on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you next week for episode number 84 from Anna and I. As always, ride on.